We will head over to the 76ers, who take on the Knicks Wednesday night on 97.3 ESPN. And, well, first off, Happy New Year to you, Coach. I guess things in 2017 feel a lot better than they have in recent years past.
Yeah, no, we feel like, things are slowly coming together. You feel like, there's purpose and there's people in place that everybody's got a right to be excited about. Obviously the addition of Joel Embiid and watching him play and watching him be a part of the city, the community, the team has been very uplifting for all of us.
Yeah, Coach, I got to be honest, listening to both you talk after these games, it seems like you've got a little bit more feeling that things are moving in a direction you want them to move in. You still talk about, the process in terms of we got a lot of young players. I heard you say the other night it's hard to win games with a lot of 20-year-olds out there. But then Joel said something the other night that said, we're starting to figure this out. We're starting to learn how to win. Do you sense that your young guys are learning from some of these close losses that they've had over the last couple of years?
I do. I think probably one of the clearest blueprints that might resonate easiest is if you look at that Minnesota team, you're always paying attention to other young programs, and they're probably like 2 years ahead of us. It's a team with, 2 first-round draft picks, or the first player chosen in the draft, and there's similarities. They've won 11 games, and you just, you try to get through it. You try to help them navigate sort of close games at the end of games. How do you deal with it? I think we're getting better. We're still 20 years old, but I believe these experiences will add up, and I think, you're starting to see signs of it lately.
I know it's been difficult to try to get all the big men going, but are you getting any better sense of how that's all going to be shaken out, or are you just kind of flying by the seat of your pants on that one?
No, it's certainly not fly by anything. It's trying to give it real chances to work and real chances to assess. You walk that very sort of at times awkward life of how do you win some games, how do you develop the players, how do you experiment, because we're still all in that stage. In some way you find a balance to all of it, and oftentimes they're mutually exclusive. And so with this big situation that we're in, probably the clearest thing that has come to all of our minds is that, cramming 3 5-men into 48 minutes with a healthy Joel Embiid, getting 28 of those, is very sort of, to me, unfair to, at times, Jaleel or Nerlens or whatever, but that's the deal. And so you try to hold it together, make it work, play them as best you can, and find a way to move the program forward and steal some wins. And there's no real sort of book that tells you how to do all that.
Brett Brown's with us. Do you talk to Joel about that at all? Like, does he have any input on who he likes playing with, or a guy, which feels best? Because obviously, I would assume you want him to be as comfortable as possible out there.
I talk to him like he deserves to be talked to put any type of sort of responsibility on his shoulders. I mean, these guys are his friends. I don't put him in that position. I'm the coach. It's on me to figure it out. And I feel like the staff that I have, the front office, the collaborative owners, that's on us. We got to figure it out, make it work, and, try to move this program forward. And so I think slowly we are figuring it out. Slowly we are getting into some symmetry and rhythm to how we rotate it and play it. To date, Jaleel, he hasn't, played in a game the last 2 nights, the last 2 times we've played, and he's been a stud. He's really been a mature adult that's handled it well and continues to work. And so that's all we know. We'll try to hold this together and move the program forward and still, find the minutes that some of these guys deserve.
Brett Brown's here, 97.3 ESPN. Sixers take on the Knicks, 7 o'clock. That's right here on 97.3 ESPN tomorrow night. And, you look at Jaleel, and just as on the court has been, I don't know, I guess it's exceeded a lot of expectations from a lot of other people. You saw him more than anybody else. But just the attention he's getting off the court and everything. How do you think he has handled just playing, less than 30 NBA games, how he's adapted to NBA life with such little basketball experience?
I mean, I think he's doing great. I feel like, he's a big personality that this city has a right to embrace. On the court, there is a skill package that is quite sort of incredible without much history. He's only really been playing basketball for a short period of time, and certainly not much NBA basketball, yet you see a skill package that is elite and continuing to move forward. And you see a tenacity and a toughness that, has a chance to grow to be a leader outside of a really good player. And I think you wrap that up into, somebody that just is to me, so very young, and certainly in their infant stages, just scratching the surface of what they can be. It gets pretty exciting, with all the sort of pain that people have gone through over the past few years trying to figure out, what's the benefit? What are we going to show for this blood at times? He certainly is an example of the reason, we've tried to grow the program the way that we have.
Sure, and I absolutely agree with that in terms of there was a lot of pain, but I think people are starting to see the fruits of that. The other guy is Ben, and I know that people are kind of waiting to see what's next for him. What can you tell the listeners about what could be on the horizon for Ben Simmons?
It's difficult to give timelines. We don't know them yet. What we do know is that his injury and the healing of his foot is going completely on track, and everybody should feel comfortable about that. Today was the first time that he went through sort of a walkthrough at like 80%, just going through some things with the guys, not, high energy, but with us. And to just sort of simply have him with the team on a court in a 76ers practice uniform, to leave the last road trip, have him on a plane, have him on a bus, have him with us, in Boston when we played the Celtics and in Brooklyn. All those things sort of add up where he slowly is being integrated back into the group, and now he had a chance to actually do some stuff on a court. And so it's all positive. I think people should hear that more than probably seek out a timeline.
Well, that's good because, there's that whole feeling of, man, first Joel, now Ben. It's like, woe is us all the time, but it feels like there are positives. I mean, you even have Joel mentioning the P word the other night with playoffs, and hey, you could almost wonder what this team would have looked like had Ben been here. I wondered if you sit and wonder, man, if we had this Simmons kid, we might be right in the thick of this thing right now.
I mean, you always, of course you do, and I think probably the person that gets forgotten that shouldn't is Jared Bayless. We lost our starting point guard in Jared Bayless. We lost the first player chosen in the NBA draft in Ben Simmons, and we went into this sort of free fall with minute restrictions and trying to figure out bigs, and it's been. I say that not at all upset. I think that what you realize is that's the pain, that's some of the steps that you just got to go through if you're going to build this the way that we want. And so I feel like our lens continues to be very long. I think that we're looking at this thing from a high altitude and looking down. I feel like nobody's overreacting. We're all still on point. But what the fans should feel, and they have a right to feel, is, you see Joel Embiid, and Ben's going to be, we hope, not too far away, and you start seeing Saric and Covington's improving, and Stousis is doing well, and T.J. McConnell has taken this opportunity and ran with it, and, you got to feel good about all that type of stuff, but we're not ahead of ourselves, and I think we all should feel like the program is moving forward.
Hey, Coach, I know the record doesn't look great, when you look at the standings and you say, okay, Philadelphia 10-25, but to match last season's total already, as a coach, what does that say for, you and everything that's going on? Was there some wow, we've really taken some big strides? Did that 10th win mean a little extra the other night?
It really didn't. I don't, and I still don't feel like that. I feel very comfortable telling you, no, it didn't. I feel what makes me probably most satisfied is, like today, I left practice an hour and a half ago, and I thought we had the best practice of the year. You had a feel-good attitude with Ben Simmons running around. You had all three of those bigs, two of which, or really four of the bigs with Rashawn and Jaleel that, aren't even hitting the court right now, yet come to the gym with an amazing attitude. And it's a spirited gym, and we got, 4 games coming up in 6 nights, and we're hitting playoff teams coming up, with some of the roster games that are right around the corner. And so there's a beat in our gym. There's a real rhythm. There's a good feeling. I lean on that. There was an ESPN report that came out today that we have the number 1 rated defense in the East since like the first part of November. That matters to me. That's how we have to build our program, especially in the city of Philadelphia. And so, those are the things you hang your hat on more than the actual quantity of wins. And I truly feel like, same old, same old. We're not skipping steps. We put in good days, and we continue to believe that they will add up.
Yeah, as I guess things get more fluid and you get a better grasp, you look at Joel and what he is defensively. Nerlens, I think just adding him, adds you see what's happening the last couple of nights. You guys won 3 out of 4. That defense has really changed in this recent streak. You can see that the team is buying into some defensive principles here. That's noticeable watching.
And it needs to be. You've heard me say since we all met that if we don't have that, in my eyes, we don't have much. And you certainly don't have anything that you can talk about that can play in May and June one day. And so we need to build it through that lens. It's the city of Philadelphia, and we need to play with a physicality and personality, to me, that reflects the city. And we want to grow it that way. And I want to give our guys that edge, that mentality. And so they understand that completely. We talk about it all the time. We drill it. We declare it to be goals at the start of the year. And we really have never left it. I think to finally be rewarded with some of those numbers and rankings, it just gives you sort of validation that you're on the right track. And now we'll start talking about, doing better with our offense. And ultimately, the whole thing we hope can come together. You really do have to kick both sides of the box at some point. Right now, we're trying to hang our hat on the defensive end.
Yeah, and what are you learning about Dario? He seems like, up and down, but more getting in tune with the NBA game. And, man, there's some nights when he catches and shoots, it looks like he has confidence. Some nights when he just catches and shoots and just boom, right away. And then, obviously, that's something that he's, trying to get more in tune with. But what are you learning about him in his young career?
Just a fierce competitor. Truly loves basketball. He was raised to be a professional basketball player. His pedigree is impeccable. His father was a professional basketball player from a very, very, very young age in Croatia. He was sort of like Jaleel was, at 12 years old, people knew about him. At 14, everybody knew about him. And he's just been groomed, to play professional basketball, and he loves it. And he's got a tenacity and a toughness that you just want to wrap your arms around him because you have that much respect for him. His game is growing where I think his perimeter game, the three-point shot especially, is going to be one of the main weapons that we've been trying to grow and let him catch and shoot it. That's really not what he was in Europe. We're trying to grow that and extract that from him. But he's a wonderful teammate. We all got to remember, again, he's 20 whatever. He's played 34 NBA games only. And I just think that he's great for our program, and I think he's going to be one of those long-term keepers.
Sixers coach Brett Brown, Sixers-Knicks right here on 97.3 ESPN. They're back at home tomorrow night, and, of course, you can hear all the Sixers action. Tom McGinnis with the call. A lot more exciting calls from Tom McGinnis the last couple of nights with the Sixers winning some basketball games. Coach, we appreciate the time as always, and good luck against the Knicks.
Yeah, good stuff. Thanks for having me.